There are powers and principalities that have come into existence which have limited the ability of humankind, spirits coming in here, to be fully expressive, fully creative. These powers and principalities have caused humanity on Earth and Earth itself to come to a dead end in its evolution and in its use. These powers, and through use of principalities and principles, mankind has been harnessed into productive animals, basically, where they have no free will, no expression, no creativity, and they are substantially harmed in their life and often miss the greatest potential life. Of course, one's own self-character limitations play a significant role, but the principles that are in place on this planet are greatly injuring and limiting of humanity at this time. And there are powers, spirits, and people who have greatly damaged the human process. These I will address. There is a story in the Bible about the Jews wanting a king. And the short version is God more or less said, hey, you don't want a king, you will be harmed. The king will, that great of a power, will kill you, damage you, harness you, enslave you. Well, the story goes, of course, as you know, the Jews got a king and they did suffer for it at some times, just as God would have told them. The biggest safety for humanity is to have limitations on powers and the principles that powers use over people. There are many ways to reduce, eliminate, or bring to an end these powers and principles that have been damaging to mankind. But the short version, again, is to have in effect ways to limit people from obtaining great power for any length of time in a culture. Powers can be used by corporations, which do not have a soul. Charitable organizations, and any organization can have power through people acquiescing to that organization's will and desire, and by the accumulation of great assets and money, and through principles such as ownership that can be used damagingly to humanity. Humanity can basically be enslaved by these powers through this use of principles. I am going to address religions, philosophies, the veil, and how it has all worked up to now. There has been a veil on this planet, which, to show the greatest intelligence of God, all spirits come in here, and almost all of them have no idea that they have a spiritual basis to their life. The use of the veil has been very important. It has allowed individuals to make choices, live those ramifications, and gain from that. There are people on this planet who, not knowing anything else but what they have seen in this life, have concluded that this life is it. When you're done, you're done. And given that, there are some of those people who have decided to be kind, to be caring, to live with themselves, with humanity. They have made the best choice and will do well even after their life is done. And they're the same group of people, some who, not knowing anything else was ever to exist after the life, thinking this might be the only life and you're done, chose to be selfish, to be harmful, to be murderers, to be killers. They will not progress. And then there are those group of people who have a sense of spirituality, think that they believe and feel that there must be something else, and maybe had some insight that there is something else underlying it. And again, of all those people, some have chosen to live in balance with other humanity, with sentient beings, to be caring, to live for themselves as well as living in balance with everyone else. They have made the best choice. And then of that same group, there are those who have said, well, let's use the spirituality for myself and be only unto themselves, and have used it to manipulate other people. They have also chosen poorly. They will not progress in a very good way. And last, There's a very few group of people, small amount of people, who have knowingly conspired with spiritual elements that are negative, that are demonic, that are harmful, that they have become murderers and killers and users and abusers, incredibly selfish to the detriment of humankind. Those spirits, those egos, will not escape outer darkness when they die.